But anyways, so I want to get as much of this area as I can, so I have the most likelihood of getting a deal out of this area. This is a real dark area. And I'll send you this video and then another video of whenever I pull a list, basically how I filter it, so you know exactly what to look for.
Okay.
But the main things that we're gonna do is we're gonna do residential properties. Okay, we're gonna do single family homes. I don't know how many townhouses there are out there, but townhouses are cool. We're gonna do duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and maybe apartments too. Now, if your buyers come back with, oh, they only want, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms or square footage, then you can put that in here. But we're not going to do that right now. For the MLS, we're not going to do on the MLS. Let me see how to. Man, Batchleads let me down at the moment. Shit. Let's redo this. Sometimes Batchleads needs a refresh. And are you looking to buy properties for yourself too, or just start making some money wholesaling?
Right now, no, I would be looking to buy one for myself. Just wanted to start wholesaling, and
Yeah.
then if it goes down that or goes well, and just I'd be looking to grow some investment properties and things like that.
Yeah. What'd you do before this?
Well, I've owned since 2009, owned my own like repair shop and
cool.
trailer sales, trailer repair.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna get some crazy deals. So, you got the money, you can make anything happen really with these houses. But it seems like every week, like when you get into this business, like you'll get the craziest deals of your life that you're just like, and like whenever you have that good feeling, like, oh man, I wish I could buy this. That's how you know you have a good deal. It's kind of fun.
Yep.
So, it's just not loading right last time. So one more time, we do residential, single family. I will do townhouses. I don't know how many townhouses they got in Kansas City. Duplex, triplex, quadplex. And those are the ones that I like to do. MLS. Yeah, see how it loaded weird last time? Now it's better. MLS, ownership info. You want to make sure that you're doing individual. I mean, a lot of people do buy houses under trusts and things like that, but it's just a lot easier to get a hold of the owner if you just skip trace individual. Equity, we're going to go to 50% equity. And if that's too high, then we'll bring that down. But we just want people who have, like, if they sold, they would make a little bit of money, because then we can kind of negotiate a little more. If they owe too much on the house, we're not going to make any money. None of that matters unless you're doing something. I mean, that's pretty much it. One second. Info. I mean, I usually like people that have at least owned the house for like 2 years. All right, let me apply. And this is just kind of filtering down so that we are only looking at houses that are going to work for us, or that are more likely going to work for us. Okay, and then the ones that I would go for first of all would be the pre-foreclosures. So there's 167 pre-foreclosures. And I just like pre-foreclosures because they're motivated. You know what I mean? And they need, a lot of the times, like, you'll talk to a pre-foreclosure and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to sell my house. And then you'll reach out to them again. And like the banks have been calling and people have been banging on their doors and asking for their house, and they'll be more motivated to sell. So
in scenarios like that, then do you just get down?
Just get it down for what I can, as close to the mortgage as they owe, or what they're willing to sell for, and then usually with those, you got to sell fast, because once the bank owns it, you can't wholesale it, because no one at the bank is going to sign your contract. You know what I mean? So that's what happens. And then whenever I'm labeling, it's really important you label correctly. So Probably gonna butcher this, but Kansas City. I think this is Missouri still. I guess it's both. Whatever though. We'll do Mo. I'll do ACC, which just stands for acquisition as opposed to disposition, and then we're gonna do pre-foreclosures. I misspelled closures, whatever. And then the date. And that way, like when you're going back and you're trying to like figure out when did I talk to these people last or whatever, it's just good to keep your stuff organized. And then I put these into a nationwide pre-foreclosure list. And that's just kind of how I do it now. So I'll basically go through I don't know why it's not being nice. There we go. I'll go through this list all the way through. And then I'll hit it again in a nationwide campaign of just pre-foreclosed houses. So what I do is I text blast this whole list. I cold call the whole list. And then again, I'll text blast it again later on once I do more data and do more areas and basically in a nationwide campaign. And then we're going to do inherited. So pretty much the same thing. Create new list. City.
And what do you mean when you say you're doing a nationwide?
So like we do campaigns all over the place. So we'll just basically like right now we're going after Florida. Last week we went after Louisiana. I think next week we're going to go after Tennessee. So like we'll just go through all those areas. And then once we're done, we'll do a nationwide campaign where we'll hit all of those, like just the pre-foreclosures though, all across the US, not specifically with the same phone numbers or whatever. Like, does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
this is categorizing them as like pain point properties is what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, basically we're going to go through them. We're going to cold call them. And then again, we'll touch base with them again later. And obviously, while we're going through, we're talking to all the real motivated, all the real people that are ready to sell and ready to go. ECC. And then this is inherited. Save. And then the next one that I'm going to do is liens. And this is going to have like the only thing that's weird about Batch is when they do liens, like this is all the liens. So there could be like child support liens. There could be some other weird liens. What's cool about PropStream is you can just do water shutoff liens, and we do a lot of that, but this is where the liens are going to be. Oops. And I mean, liens are a good sign that they're just not keeping up with the house, or they're in a financial struggle or whatever. So, and then the next one would be vacants, and like that's pretty much. I wouldn't even do all the vacants. Well, we'll do it right.
So once you get these lists set up, then you go back to the list and skip trace these.
Yeah, then you skip trace them.
And then you would send out messages after you get that.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. And then once you skip trace them, you just add them. You got to create a campaign, and then you basically can blast them all. What are these liens?
Okay. Yep. Skip trace the list, and you start a campaign. Then you add the list that you're going after to that campaign. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So then the next thing we would do, I mean, actually, let me see. So then once I get to vacants, since there's like 3,000 vacants, I want to get a little bit pickier on my information, I guess.
Yeah, just start filtering it a little harder.
Yeah, because I mean, stuff like that, and we'll just see if it goes down a little more. I could do, yeah, I should do one more filter where I filter the price, because like, I mean, I don't necessarily like a lot of the $1 million houses and stuff like that. Like I've done big deals like that, but they're pretty rare. you know, that you're more likely going to get some reasonable prices on a single family home than you are anything else. So
Yeah.
it's another filter we can go to is just price, estimated value. I don't know. I'd probably do a little more research on Kansas City, Missouri, but I'm going to assume 300,000 is pretty high for a house. And then I'm going to assume my buyers don't really want anything less than $50,000. And I mean, you can go after the cheaper houses for 50,000, but your assignment fee is going to be smaller too.
Yeah.
So, just some things to think about. And then that, I mean, that still didn't filter out a lot of vacants, which is kind of cool actually. So then we have 2,500. I guess they got rid of 1,000 or something like that. But I would do this list too. I mean, that's probably like 5,000 houses. So that's a pretty big list, you know, and like that's enough to, there's definitely a deal. Like the rule of thumb, like even if you're lazy, is out of every 2,500 text, you should get one deal. You know, you should absolutely, like that's what we see all the time. So
Really?
hopefully much more than that, but you know, that's pretty much where it is. Like if you're good, you should be able to get, but if you're even if you're bad, out of every 2,500, you should get at least one deal. So that means, you know, if you can only send 1,000 a day, you know, every 3 days, you should be getting a deal under contract. If you're just pulling these pain point properties and you're on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Missouri acquisitions.
Is there a better time of day that you found that works?
Just whenever you can be at your phone, you know, like I said, like when you start blasting and like you can only probably as one guy, like you could probably do like 100 at a time and then just try and answer all the people coming back in, but you don't want to, and then you're also going to get phone calls of people calling you. So it's just like whenever you can really get to it. I mean, even in the evenings, people are off work and talking. So it's just whenever you can really focus is the best time, I would say. Blanking.
And what would you say if a person's real serious at this, how much time a day should you set aside for this?
I mean, a couple hours of like real focus work is all it really needs. You just gotta be there and you gotta be ready to talk to people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because they want to sell their houses, and then you just got to be able to be honest with them, and just try. You got to get the best price possible. You know, there's a lot of wholesalers will get on the phone and they'll just tell them like market value, and you really got to get a steep discount to make some serious money. You know what I mean? So that you can keep your business alive. And like that's what buyers want, obviously. So that's why you get paid. You got to find the problems and you got to make it happen.
Well, it makes it easier in the end too, because if you do enough work on the front end, the buyers won't be a problem because you've done all the work.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can get that steady cash flow, and then you can, you know, buy more properties, or like we're basically taking our wholesale money and we're going to turn it into Airbnbs, and we're going to do like more creative financing deals, like the one I was telling you, where we're going to get into that house for like, you know, $10,000. Like that's pretty awesome. So that's our goals, is to keep the wholesaling cash flow coming in and then kind of use it to, you know, make some cool opportunities to make some more money. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I guess you go to skip tracing. So now you're going to go to properties. You're going to go to filter. You're going to go down to all those lists that we just pulled. And you're just going to add them all. Filters. And yeah, and now you're just going to select all pretty much. So to skip trace all these, you go to skip trace. It would be, I'm not going to skip trace them, but it'd be about $337. So that's a pretty good deal.
That's if it matched all of them.
Yeah, and if they don't match, they won't charge you. It'll go through all of them, and then they'll return whatever money, and stuff like that. And you could literally just start with the pre-foreclosures, liens, and inherited, and then go to the vacants. You know, that's probably what I would do, just because like I like to spend as little money as possible and make as much money as possible. So I'd like to get a deal out of but the liens, the pre-foreclosures, and the inherited, that's like the most motivation that you're really going to get for people that are ready to sell their house. Because if they have a lien, if they're in pre-foreclosure, if there's somebody passed away and they are just trying to figure out what to do with it, like that's pretty awesome. And then I would go to the high equity and the vacant properties and stuff like that. So you'd select all those. The next thing is you'd go to SMS campaign and you would just create a new campaign. So you just create it here. So you do this, and it's going to ask you for this webhook. I still don't really know what it is. So if you have to add a webhook, just add like a website to something. I don't necessarily know exactly what it does. And I do have a Podio, but I don't really use it. And if you wanted to, that's just a CRM that'll like help you track. So what we do for all our deals is we use a thing called Trello. So these are just follow-ups. So as I'm going through the text blasts, I'm basically, or cold calling, every time like I have a lead of someone who actually wants to sell their house, and I get on the phone, like sometimes, you're not going to lock it up the first time. You're going to have to probably have a couple conversations with these sellers. But the first time that you talk to them, you want to take notes, you want to write down their address, you want to write down if you made an offer or whatever. So these are just follow-ups. These are houses that we're going to basically call, or I called actually most of these today. But then the main one is how we keep it organized in this thing is we have JV deals. So these are deals that people have under contract that they need a buyer for that we're working on. We have dead deals that just didn't work out. We have deals that we're currently marketing right now. So we've got quite a few deals that we're marketing. And then we have deals that are closing right now. So this one's closing right now. And then we've got a couple other closing that aren't on here actually too. But this is just kind of how we keep it organized. And like I tried to figure out, I did everything with like Google Sheets forever, and I found this stupid app Trello, and it kind of helps me stay organized. And then what's cool is we have another guy who just does dispatch. His name's Nathan. So he's the one that's like actively marketing to buyers for us. So then we just focus on text blasting and cold calling, and he more focuses on talking to buyers and making sure the deals get together, because that's what he likes to do. So
okay,
pretty cool, man. And then we're doing somebody else is cold calling for us right now. We do cold calling too. So basically what we do we would basically text blast that whole campaign. So right now we're doing some statewide campaigns. We're not quite as on it, but we're doing a hot warm leads. We're going after Florida right now, and then Tennessee. But we're going to basically text blast all of Florida, and then we're going to come over here, and we're going to somebody's calling right now. So it's kind of cool. It shows you he's talking to Walter, whatever, scam horn. But this is a 10 phone dialer, so that way whenever you you got to be pretty motivated to cold call, but it is what it is. So once we text blast
you use this and the numbers on here to cold call as well.
Yeah. So I use this is Batchdialer. So we go from
Batchdialer. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we go from batch leads where we text blast everything. So we'll text blast that whole list, and then we'll cold call that whole list. And that way we're just getting, we're not wasting any marketing dollars. Basically, we're going through with a comb and making sure each house, a person in there, if they want to sell for a discount, we're going to get it. And it's working for us. So it's pretty cool. And then, then I have a website too, but you don't need to know all that. I mean, we just started though with text blasting, and text blasting got us lots of deals.
So then you said there was a video you were going to send me on
just pulling that list pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I'll email you. Can you text me your email right now?
Yep.
Yeah. And then, cause I'll email you the purchase agreement, the assignment, the double closed, and then the JV agreement too.
Okay.
And you'll just have all that stuff.
And then do you have a good video that you like on figuring out the value, ARV and all that? I've watched a few of them, but if there's one that that if you had or something, I would.
Yeah, I have a couple, so I'll send those to you. I mean, so with Batchleads, like it's pretty cool. Like, so they pull the same information that real estate agency.
Mhm.
So let's just find a property. So you just click on here. So what's cool, it says over here, it says, they just switched this up, but they say that the house is worth around 240 whatever. And when it says it up here in the estimated value, right, that is just kind of like what it would be for kind of on Zillow or other stuff.
Yep.
Now, when you go over here to comparables, this is where Batch gets pretty cool, and you can really start to like run good comps. I clicked a random house, and this one doesn't. Oh, it has some. So, but you're going to come down here, and it says that the comps just stand for comparable houses, and if you buy houses, you know that. But they say that it's worth 242,000.
Yep.
And you could pretty much, like, if you really wanted to get crazy with it, you could just come down here and you unclick all the ones that aren't similar to it. Like, so those are 4.2s, whereas it's a 3.2.
Yep.
And so the real probably value is around 229. What state is this in though? Well, this is in Florida. So in Florida, we can really kind of get away with almost 80% ARV. So then I'll bust out my calculator. Well, let's just do this real quick. This is literally what it is. So I look at it, it says 230, right? So then I take the address, I copy it, copy. I just go to Google and I put the address in. Okay, and then we're just going to compare my batch leads info with Zillow. And Zillow is always going to be above market value. Like you're going to, so whatever they say is like, $10,000, $20,000 more than what's realistic, but it's still pretty cool that they say, 290. That's way different than 230. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of interesting information.
But you're not, but I mean, this is just if it's sold on the market. I mean, you're not dealing with any repairs needed or anything like that right now.
But this is just to figure out like what it could be worth. Like if I got the max price, like what the buyer is. Like when you're doing your numbers, you want to be conservative with the seller, but when the buyer is going to be buying it, you kind of want to show them the best side of it. It's like, because if you say it says on Zillow it's worth 290, we got it under contract for 200. Like there's a lot of room there, so you probably should pick this up. So that's all it is. But it's just good to see, because I mean, all these different websites, like they're not going to be, they've put a lot of money into coming up with their algorithm, so they're not going to be like too far off. So it's just interesting to see the difference, and then somewhere in between the comps and what it's on Zillow is kind of the true number. Like, it's just kind of like that little gray area is the real price, or the real value of the house. So that's kind of how I run comps. So I mean, if we're saying like it's worth 290 or 250, I think we'd be pretty safe with saying it's about 245. So let's see.
So, okay, let's say it's 245 and the buyer's going, I'll sell my house. And you're thinking.
So I do 245.
How you getting them off 245?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the times I want them to say their price first, right?
Yep.
I don't want to put a number in their head. And maybe, they bought it. Let's see. They bought it in 2017 for 205. So maybe they just want 210 or 215, and we can still kind of work that out. It says that they still owe a lot on the mortgage. The amount that they owe on the mortgage is really the amount that I would want to get this property under contract for. So like 190 would be like the best price that I could do. And it says that they're in pre-foreclosure. So that means that they're motivated. So whenever you're talking to these people, like you don't want to like be like, oh, well, it says right here you're in foreclosure. Like that's kind of a rude thing to do. So you more or less just want to have that in the back of your mind, like, oh, they're actually pretty motivated to sell this house right now. And if they have a mortgage for 197, I would throw out there maybe 190 and see what they say. And if they go, oh God, I could never do that, then you say, okay, well, what's the magic number that would work for you? And
Gotcha.
In Florida, like I said, we can get away with like 80% ARV, even 85, because people are just buying everything in Florida right now. It's pretty crazy.
What do you do then? Okay, let's say you've got somebody that agrees, said, oh, 195, you're okay.
Mhm.
what do you do? Somebody getting for foreclosure or that has liens that,
Mm.
from the pictures you're looking at, it doesn't look like the property should be fine. How do
Yeah.
you know at this point though, or protect yourself that they haven't trashed the place or just let the thing go and they're already
Yeah.
moving out type deal?
Well, like, so I try and just make them understand, like, hey, like, we're gonna buy it as is, but you got to tell me kind of the condition, and then we're gonna send somebody out there eventually. But I want to
Okay.
get it under contract like pretty quick. So
Yeah.
what I'll let them do is I'll let them, tell me what the condition of the property is, and then if we go to get it inspected and it's not what they say it's worth, then I'm going to renegotiate the contract. So
Gotcha.
it doesn't really matter. I used to always think I had to send someone to get pictures first. And then I had to, once I got the pictures, then I had to figure out if there's anything, wrong with it or whatever. And that's still a good way to go about it. But we just try and get things under contract now. And we say, yeah, once it's under contract, we just need to get it under contract so that we can get the money together. And then while we're getting the money together, the house will have a little inspection period,
Yeah.
is what we usually say. And then the buyer though is going to be the one, he's going to hire an inspector to go out there. Like they always do. Like, I mean, either they go out there as the buyer or they hire someone to go look at the property before they buy it. Not always, but usually. So then if they come back with like the foundation is totally cracked, then we're just going to either have to wash the deal or renegotiate the deal. So,
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
yeah. But yeah, so I just somewhere in the middle there is the real price. But with that range, that kind of gives you, what you want to offer. I mean, like we would ideally want it, probably for like, in a perfect world, we'd get it for like 150, but a lot of the sellers aren't going to do that. And when you offer them that, they're just going to, laugh at you. So you want to have a little tack. You want to try and get them to give you a number first, and then you want to walk them down to a more realistic number, especially if it's a cash offer, which is what we do.
Yep.
You got to say that's net, that's going in your pocket, or, that's really going to be able to get this house off your credit and you're going to be able to, get out of there or whatever you need to do. So,
Okay.
yeah, cool, man. That's kind of all I got for today. Is that pretty helpful?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, cool, man. The next, so I got to send you an email with whatever, the text templates and the quick replies, and then all the contracts. Cool. Did you text me your email too?
Yeah. I should have sent that over.
All right, cool.
And if you want, text me your Venmo back.
Yeah, that sounds good right now. And then, we can just keep doing this, man. I'm totally happy to help you get your first deal and just kind of show you what you need to do, because there's always going to be, another thing you should probably do is call title companies in that area.
Yep.
If that's where you're going to go after, and then just ask them, do they do assignment fees? Do they do double closes? Do they work with wholesalers? And then always ask them how busy they are. Because I've had a lot of deals just totally screw up because the title company took like a month to close or whatever,
Yeah. That almost surprised me how fast you guys are talking about closing some of this. Cause out here closing in 30 days is, it's not heard of. They take their sweet time.
Yeah, I know, it's true. We're dealing with a lot of deals in Alabama that just take forever, in Tennessee, but
Yeah.
a lot of our buyers, they'll close in 15 days. That's how you have a good buyer, because they'll tell you, like, we need 5 days to inspect it and 10 days to get the money situated, and then we'll close. And it still probably takes 21 to 30 days, but
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of good to have a buyer lined up so that they can just kind of come in there, do their thing, and then you get paid pretty quick. But yeah,
Yep.
it doesn't always happen overnight like that.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, cool, man. So I'm gonna send you my Venmo. I'll do it here in a second, and then yeah, just kind of get started. Try your text blasting. If you need help talking to sellers or whatever, we can do that in the next one. Just how to talk to them and negotiate. And I'll send you some videos. You wanted a video on comps, and then a video on just kind of pulling lists, probably, so you know what to do when you get them.
That should
Sweet,
should work.
Any other questions?
No, not right now.
All right, cool, man. You have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert.